Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to break down complex stuff into knowledge you can actually use, remember, and maybe even act on.
That's the goal.
Today, we are really digging into Nicole Bart's novel, Everything We Didn't Say. The book makes this argument, maybe implicitly, that the biggest dangers aren't always the overt actions, but the truths people actively keep buried.
Yeah, and we've got a pretty thorough summary to work from. So instead of reading all, 300 plus pages, we can jump straight into the guts of it, the plot mechanics, what makes the main character tick, and, the big ideas that lift this beyond just a small town mystery.
Right.
Our job here is basically to hand you the key to understanding this whole 15-year journey towards some kind of reckoning.
And it starts with quite a setup. The core, as you said, is Juniper Baker, and there's this dark cloud over her hometown, Jericho, Iowa. It's rural, seems quiet.
Seems quiet, yeah.
But there's this infamous unsolved double homicide, the murders of Cal and Beth Murphy, neighbors. It's like the defining crime for that town, for her generation.
And the timing is just brutal. Our summary really highlights this. It happened nearly 15 years ago, right after Juniper graduated high school, just when life should be opening up.
Exactly. That summer should have been about freedom, first love, stepping into adulthood, all that stuff.
Okay.
Instead, bam, trauma right at the start.
That timing, like you said, it's absolutely crucial. It wasn't just an interruption. It poisoned things from the get-go. And here's the part that makes it so deeply personal, the real anchor for the whole story.
Her brother.
Her own brother became the prime suspect, and still is, 15 years later. So this wasn't just some local news tragedy for Juniper. It happened to her family. It shattered them. And that's why she left Jericho, basically went into self-exile for over a decade.
Yeah, the silence around the crime wasn't just silence. It became this void defining her adult life, really.
Absolutely. When something hits that close to home, trying to find the truth isn't just detective work. It's digging into your own past, your own identity. Everything is broken. The whole mystery is tangled up with who Juniper is now, her relationship with her brother, her ability to trust anyone when that core family trust was just blown apart by suspicion and then distance. She didn't just leave a town. She left a version of herself that got contaminated on day one.
Wow. Okay, that really sets the stage for her return then, which is what the first major section seems to focus on, the sheer weight of coming back and what her mission really is.
Right. So Juniper Baker comes back to Jericho. And on the surface, she has these very practical, understandable reasons. She tells people, maybe tells herself too, that she's there to help a friend.
Okay.
And crucially, she needs to reconnect with her daughter, a daughter she actually left behind in Jericho, who's been raised by Juniper's own mother all this time.
So those are the official reasons. Plausible.
Very plausible. Acceptable to the community. But underneath that, that's where the real story engine is. The actual driving force is, well, it's much riskier for her, much more urgent.
She needs to know what happened.
Exactly. She's there to face the past, yes, but it's laser-focused. She wants to uncover the truth about the Murphy murders, specifically to clear her brother's name, a name that's been dragged through the mud for 15 years.
So it's a mission of loyalty, maybe desperation too. It sounds like a huge gamble, putting whatever stability she found outside Jericho completely on the line.
It is a huge gamble.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the family. We really need to talk about that fractured family landscape.
Yeah.
15 years living under that kind of suspicion. That takes an incredible toll.
I can't even imagine.
The cost isn't just the miles between them. It's in the way they talk to each other, or maybe don't talk, even after she's back. How do you properly reconnect with your own mother when she's been raising your child because you left?
Right.
And how do you even look at your brother knowing that for 15 years, his entire identity to the town, and maybe even within the family, has been the guy suspected of double murder?
It just poisons every interaction, doesn't it? It turns every relationship into a potential minefield. The summary suggests her reconnecting with her daughter, trying to fix things with her brother. It's all tied up with finding the truth.
Inextricably linked. That's a key point. It seems like the family can't actually heal until the lie, or at least the suspicion that broke them apart, is dealt with, exposed, purged.
So finding out if her brother is guilty or innocent isn't just about justice for the Murphys, it's the key to unlocking her entire family's future.
It really is. And
Yeah.
the irony, as you sort of touched on earlier, is pretty thick here. She ran away from Jericho to escape all this, thinking distance would help, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But coming back, even just supposedly to help a friend, shoves her right back into that toxic soup, every street corner bumping into old classmates.
Yeah.
It's all a trigger.
It's like the past isn't even past.
Exactly. The murders weren't just history. They were the event that stopped her from ever really moving on, from becoming an adult separate from Jericho's shadow. She's kind of stuck, development-wise, until she can solve this and reclaim her own story.
That phrase, the unavoidable past, it almost feels like a physical thing in the town. So Juniper isn't just, looking for clues in old police files. She's wading through this highly charged atmosphere, this gossipy community that probably made up its mind 15 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. The air is thick with old judgments. Her investigation becomes less about finding some new piece of DNA evidence and more about battling this entrenched public opinion, maybe even within her own family.
That sounds incredibly difficult. Which actually leads us perfectly into the structure of the novel. Section 2 looks at how the author uses time itself to build suspense. Let's talk about those narrative mechanics.
Yeah, the structure is really interesting. It uses alternating timelines, constantly switching back and forth between the present day, Juniper actively investigating, the stakes super high, and then jumping back to that crucial summer 14 years earlier, right around the time the Murphys were killed.
Okay, alternating timelines. That's common in thrillers, but how is it used here? Is it just to sprinkle clues?
It's more than that, I think. The summary suggests it's used to really maximize the dramatic irony for us, the readers.
Oh, so?
Because we get both perspectives. We see the past unfolding, the complicated relationships, maybe some hidden affairs, the community dynamics that were brewing before the murders. We see the seeds being planted.
Okay.
But then we flip back to the present, and we watch Juniper trying to piece things together based on her own memories, which are inevitably incomplete, maybe biased by trauma, by time.
Ah, I see. So we, the readers, might know something from the past timeline that Juniper in the present doesn't know or remembers wrong.
Exactly. The author controls what we know and when. We might see a crucial interaction in the past and then watch present-day Juniper misinterpret a clue because she doesn't have that piece of context yet.
That sounds frustrating, but in a good way. Like, it keeps you hooked because you see the disconnect. It creates this constant tension, almost painful, watching her navigate the consequences of things we've just seen happen in the past timeline.
Yeah, it keeps the pace moving, even when the action is just Juniper thinking or talking to someone.
Yeah.
It's psychological suspense built into the structure.
Okay, that makes sense. But then why now? If she's been gone 15 years, what's the trigger for her to finally come back and stir everything up? There has to be something external, right?
There is. And it's very modern. The catalyst, the thing that really forces her hand, is the arrival of a true crime podcaster. Someone decides this cold case from Jericho is juicy content.
Oh, wow. Okay. The podcaster. That adds a whole different layer.
Totally. It's like throwing gasoline on embers that have been smoldering for 15 years. This podcaster shines this sudden, harsh spotlight on the town, forcing them to confront stuff they've worked really hard to keep buried.
So it takes Juniper's very private, personal quest for her brother and suddenly makes it public property.
Yeah,
A spectacle.
precisely. It merges her need for truth with this intense media scrutiny. Now, it's not just about finding answers. It's a race against the clock, a race against this narrative the podcaster is probably spinning for clicks and downloads.
Yeah, that's a really interesting commentary on true crime culture, too, isn't it? How it can sometimes flatten nuance for a good story.
It absolutely can.
Mm-hmm.
Juniper isn't just fighting old suspicions anymore. She's fighting this simplified, maybe sensationalized version of the truth that the podcaster is broadcasting. She has to find the real answer before the easy, convenient one sticks in everyone's mind.
Okay, so the podcaster turns up the heat, and under this pressure, Juniper starts digging. What does she find? The summary mentions she starts uncovering this whole web of stuff.
Yeah, it's not just about the murder itself. Her investigation starts pulling threads that reveal hidden motives all over town, old grudges that have been festering for years, even things like forbidden love affairs.
Forbidden love. In a small town, that could be explosive.
Definitely. And the summary suggests these weren't just random secrets. They were direct consequences of Jericho being this incredibly tight-knit, almost suffocatingly close, and very secretive community.
Right, small towns. Everyone knows everyone's business, or thinks they do.
Exactly. There's no real anonymity. A secret between two people might as well involve 20, because everyone's connected through church, school, work, family ties. So Juniper digging into the murders means she's inevitably digging into the community's hidden life.
So understanding the killer means understanding the community that maybe allowed the killer to get away with it, or at least allowed the truth to stay hidden.
I think that's exactly it. Those hidden motives, the old grievances, the forbidden love, they might provide context for the murder or reasons why people kept quiet afterwards. reputation, family honor, maybe even financial ties. In a small town, the stakes for keeping secrets are incredibly high.
It forces you to ask not just who did it, but why did this whole community, maybe even her own family, choose silence for so long? Which I guess brings us right into the heart of it, Section 3, the thematic deep dive. This story uses a murder mystery framework to explore some pretty big universal ideas.
Absolutely. And the most central theme, the one that really colors everything, is the cost of that silence, the cost of secrets and the betrayal that comes with them.
Yeah, the summary is clear. The consequences weren't just immediate, they were devastating over the long haul. We're not just talking about someone lying to the police back then, we're talking about 15 years of active refusal to speak the truth, and that fractured everything. Families, friendships.
And silence, in this kind of context, it's not passive, is it? It's an active choice, a corrosive force. It let suspicion fester and harden into something that felt like fact. For
Mm.
Juniper and her family, every single day of that silence was like another layer of scar tissue forming. It created this endless loop of pain, maybe even passed down, affecting her daughter too.
So for Juniper, finding the truth isn't just about justice in the legal sense. It's almost like a requirement for her own emotional survival. Like she can't start truly living until she gets this resolved.
I think that's right. She needs that truth to reclaim the life she was supposed to have, the identity she lost 15 years ago. It's a path towards redemption, not just for her brother, but for herself.
Which ties directly into the next theme, right?
Yeah.
Justice, redemption, and forgiveness. Her quest is layered.
Very layered.
Hmm.
On one level, yes, she wants justice for Cal and Beth Murphy, the couple who were murdered. That's the baseline.
Okay.
But equally important, maybe even more urgent for her personally, is the redemption of her family's name, specifically clearing her brother.
That need for redemption really separates this from just a standard mystery plot. It's not just about finding the killer, it's about restoring something that was taken from her family.
Exactly. Clearing his name is the only way to start healing those old wounds. It's not just about proving his innocence to the town, but maybe forcing the family members to finally confront their own doubts, the distance they created or allowed over the years.
So, real forgiveness, forgiving the brother if he needs it, forgiving themselves for maybe suspecting him, forgiving the community, none of that can happen until the truth comes out and that cloud of suspicion is lifted.
Precisely. The suspicion itself has become the primary wound.
Okay, now let's shift to the third major theme, which sounds incredibly important for this book.
Yeah.
The setting itself, Jericho, Iowa, the small town ecosystem.
Yes, the summary emphasizes that the setting isn't just backdrop. It's practically a character in its own right. Its environment, its pressures, they actively shape the motives and, crucially, the reasons for keeping secrets.
And the source material gets specific here, mentioning things woven into the fabric of Jericho, like industrial agriculture.
Yes, the big one. Industrial agriculture and its massive role in the community. Environmental concerns may be linked to farming or industry, deep-rooted small-town politics, which are always personal, and friction between different generations.
Let's unpack that a bit. Industrial agriculture in a place like rural Iowa. That's not just about tractors and cornfields, is it?
Not at all. It's the whole economic engine. It dictates land values, who has power, the tension between big corporations moving in and families trying to hold on to traditional farms. It can control local politics entirely.
Okay, so if there are environmental concerns mentioned, maybe something like water pollution from farm runoff or disputes over land use, and those are tied to powerful agricultural interests.
And suddenly, the Murphys' murder might not just be a crime of passion. What if Cal or Beth were fighting against some practice? What if they knew something that threatened a powerful local business or political figure tied to agriculture?
That would give a whole different kind of motive for murder, and a very strong motive for a community-wide cover-up, or at least deliberate silence, to protect the town's economic stability or powerful figures.
Exactly. It becomes systemic and terrifyingly plausible. That economic pressure also feeds into the generational divides mentioned.
So,
Well, you might have younger generations who feel they have to adopt large-scale industrial methods just to survive financially, while older generations resent seeing the land change, maybe seeing environmental damage, losing the way of life they knew.
right, tradition versus perceived progress, or necessity.
These aren't just friendly disagreements over coffee. They can create deep, bitter divides within families, within the community. So small-town politics aren't abstract. They're fierce battles over land, money, legacy, survival.
Wow. Okay, so you put all that together, the economic reliance, the environmental fears, the fact that everyone knows everyone else, these deep local political fights. It's a pressure cooker.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you see why secrets might be kept. Not just out of malice, but maybe out of a twisted sense of protecting the community, preserving financial stability, or just maintaining the local power structure. The silence becomes a tool of control.
So the setting, rural Iowa, isn't just scenery. It's almost the antagonist, in a way. The thing that hides the killer and enables the silence.
That's a great way to put it. It confirms the novel is, as the summary suggests, contemplative and layered. It uses this very specific place to explore really universal things: love, loss, family bonds, and how secrets can just shatter them.
Okay, so we've got the setup, the structure, the deep themes. Now let's move into the endgame. Section 4, the climax and the final takeaways. How does it all come together?
Well, Juniper's journey is described as this collision of the timelines we talked about. It's not just the past influencing the present anymore. It's like the past violently crashes into it, meaning all those buried secrets, those painful memories, the difficult choices people made 14, 15 years ago, they don't just get revealed. They demand immediate consequences in the present day. Juniper has to act on what she learns right now.
That sounds incredibly intense for her. She's forced to confront not just the killer's actions, but maybe choices made by her own family, maybe even choices she made back then in the immediate aftermath.
Exactly. The climax isn't just about, aha, here's the murderer. It's this profound emotional reckoning. Juniper has to reconcile the innocent girl she was with the cynical adult she's become and face the fallout of both versions of herself.
And the resolution, does it work? The summary gives a hint here.
It does. According to the source, there's a crucial payoff, an unexpected twist, where Juniper finally discovers the real killer. And it's specifically called both satisfying and believable.
Okay, satisfying and believable. That's important. Satisfying probably means the emotional arcs get resolved, justice for the Murphys, redemption for the Baker family. That feels earned.
Right. But believable is key too. It means the killer wasn't just pulled out of a hat in the last 20 pages. It implies the answer was there all along, hidden within those community dynamics, the agricultural tensions, the family secrets the novel spent so much time building.
So the twist feels earned because the groundwork was laid. It respects the complexity built up through the alternating timelines and the focus on Jericho itself.
That seems to be the implication. It validates the whole structure. All those tangled threads, the secrets, the politics, the betrayals, they finally click into place, providing closure not just to the plot, but to the thematic puzzle too. It makes it feel like literary suspense, not just a disposable thriller.
And looking at it more broadly as a piece of writing.
The description suggests a really nice blend. It mentions lyrical prose, which makes you think the writing itself is atmospheric, maybe even beautiful, capturing that rural Iowa setting well. But it balances that with tight, suspenseful storytelling.
And realistic characters and setting.
Yeah, realistic depictions of small-town life. It acknowledges both sides, the potential for support and community, but also the capacity for judgment, cruelty, and keeping devastating secrets.
So who is this book for then? If you, our listener, are thinking about it.
Well, if you appreciate that deep dive into family drama, the pain of secrets, the weight of suspicion, the longing for connection, but you also want the tension and intrigue of a well-crafted psychological thriller that's really rooted in a specific, complex place. This sounds like it delivers on both fronts.
It's about the necessity of truth, maybe, even when dizzing it up is incredibly painful.
Exactly. The retrieval might be damaging, but maybe the silence is worse.
Okay, let's wrap up this deep dive. Just to quickly recap the essentials we've pulled out. Juniper Baker's mission is complex. Yes, solve the crime. But fundamentally, it's about redeeming her family, especially her brother.
Right. And the structure, those alternating timelines, isn't just a gimmick. It's how the author controls information and builds that crucial dramatic irony.
And finally, the setting, Jericho, Iowa, is absolutely central. The mystery is tangled up with big themes like secrets, forgiveness, and the very real pressures of life in that specific rural community. The farming, the politics, the history.
We saw how 15 years of silence turned a tragedy into this ongoing trauma, shaping everyone in the Baker family, and how the truth, however hard to find, was maybe the only thing that could finally set them free.
Which leaves us with one last thing for you to think about, building on this idea of silence and its cost. If we agree that truth is essential for justice, what happens to the nature of justice when the truth has been actively buried for 15 years?
Yeah, does that kind of prolonged silence just delay justice, or does it fundamentally change what justice even means in that context? If revealing the truth now causes immense immediate pain and disruption to the community, maybe even more than the original crime did at the time, how do you weigh that?
The cost of the revelation versus the ongoing corrosion of the silence. It's tough.
Is justice served 15 years late truly a restoration? Or is it just the start of a different kind of reckoning? Maybe necessary, but potentially just as painful.
Something to definitely chew on. Maybe think about the hidden histories where you live. That's our time for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
We'll dive in with you again soon.